Okay. Yeah. How have you been? What's going on?
I'm very good, Shanta. Nothing much. I think just took a little break at the end of the year, traveled a little bit, and other than that, it's the usual. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty okay. Yeah, it's been pretty normal for me. So
Okay.
partying is like a big thing in Bangalore. So what did you do for the New Year's?
Yeah, no, I didn't really party. I just traveled a bit. I went to Udaipur to meet a friend,
Oh,
and then my parents were here in town for some days. So yeah, just mostly spending time with people.
okay. So how's the new year treating you? So it's almost six or
Good.
seven.
Yeah, back to hectic, regular work life.
Hmm. It feels so jet lagged once you go for a vacation and come back. You don't feel like starting again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't mind starting again, but it just like comes all together because you have been pushing things back, saying, yeah, I'll do it when I'm back. And then there's a, mountain of things to do when you come back.
Hmm. Yes, totally agreed. So I think we met maybe more than 5 or 6 months ago. So there are a lot of
Yes.
new people who have joined the channel. So I would love to know, I would love for you to introduce yourself again for the viewers.
Yeah. I'm Anushri Goenka. I'm based out of Bangalore. I'm a startup founder. I run a company called Sparky. Sparky is a AI friend for spoken English fluency. It's an app and it's built for people who are the kind of viewers you have on your channel who kind of understand English and have some level of knowledge, etc. But they're looking to become fluent and confident and speak more easily in English. So it's built for them. It's a voice first app where you can talk to this character which is a fox, and you can practice conversations. It gives feedback, etc. So I run this company and with my co-founder Namita in Bangalore. Other than that, I'm married. I don't have kids, and I've worked for about 13 to 14 years now. And I've worked across very different companies. Before this, I was working at Swiggy. Before Swiggy, I was at a media company called Scroll, and I was doing consulting before that. And I'm a computer science engineer and a MBA from IIM Ahmedabad.
Yeah, that pretty much covers everything. So on Sparky, people from all stages of English learning can join, right? I think everybody will be
Yes.
comfortable using Sparky.
Yes. So from beginners to, beginners to intermediate learners to, more advanced learners, it works for everybody. It also works across age groups. So we have some children who use it. We have a lot of adults who use it, and, people from across different countries, more than 10, 12 countries use Sparky.
I was just talking about Sparky. Since the last time I used Sparky, there are some new features added to Sparky, like you can talk to it in different accents. And I think the feedback part was already there, but I'm not very sure. So I just want you to, tell in brief about Sparky and how to download it. What are the charges? Something on those lines.
Yeah, so it's available on Google Play Store. Currently, it's only on Android. You can download it for free. We have about 30 minutes of an experience, which is free. So you can try it, you can talk to Sparky, and then you can decide to subscribe. Even the subscription plans are very, very affordable. It's 250 rupees a month. And if you take a longer plan, like a 3 monthly plan or a 6 monthly plan, then it's even cheaper than that. Like a 6 month plan is 100 rupees a month. So very, very affordable for people. The new things that we have launched, or some people may not have tried it, so I'll tell you how it works. Right, there are different types of conversations that you can have with Sparky. So when you go into the app, there will be some recommended conversations for you, but you can also choose what kind of conversations you want to have. Right, so you might want to talk about just yourself and your life, like, what's my home like, or who am I, introduction about your family, about your hobbies. So you can talk about those things, or you can also do things like talk about specific topics, or you can try like a practice interview, mock interview, etc. So there are all different types of, hundreds of different types of conversations you can do with Sparky. Sparky will respond to different people differently, right? So different people are one at a different level of English fluency. So depending on your level, it does an assessment as you're speaking. It starts to understand what is your level of language. It talks at the level according to you. The second thing it does is it responds to what you are talking about. Like say if you're talking about food. So you might say, I like X kind of food. Like you say, I like pav bhaji. Then it will talk about pav bhaji. Somebody might be, from France, or somebody might be from Malaysia. When Sparky is talking to them, it talks about Malaysian food or it talks about French food, right? So it adapts to the user and has full conversation. You'll say, I want to make this and how should I make pav bhaji? It'll also tell you the recipe, or you can ask questions. It's like a friend, it's like an intelligent friend, how you can talk about anything. You can talk to Sparky. Everything that you say, there is feedback with it, right? So if you say something and you made some mistakes,
Mhm.
then there is a button under what you have said. If you click it, you will see the feedback of this is what you said, this is the better way to say it. So it will tell you, the right sentence, and it will tell you which word has to be shifted for which word. What is going to come out now is when you finish a full conversation for Sparky, you will see a combined report on grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. So
Mm.
you will see, where grammatically you're making mistakes. You will see some good words that you're using, or if you want to know the meaning of something Sparky says, you don't know it, you can, go into dictionary. There's a way to see the translation of that. You can see the meaning of that. You can see examples of that word being used in different sentences. You can translate it to Hindi or, to Arabic, etc. So all of those support features are there. Even if you get stuck, some people say, my mind goes blank. I don't know what to say. So Sparky also gives you suggestions. Ki here is what you can say, right? So entirely it is built for conversational practice, along with all of these support features for language learners who are sort of not very good at the language, right? They want to have that conversation. So we give them the space and opportunity to have that conversation, but we give them a lot of support and encouragement to help them do that.
Okay, wow. So I would further like to discuss about some tips that you can give for this new year, 2025, how people can make resolutions in this year to learn English. But before that, I
Hmm.
just want you to share a demo video of Sparky. So after that, we can talk about the resolutions.
Okay, done.
Introducing Sparky, your voice first AI friend for building spoken English fluency. Sparky is a friendly fox you can speak in English with even if you don't speak well. Sparky gently corrects you and also shares feedback on everything you say.
I did not got invited for my friend's birthday and I'm very sad. I didn't knew she did not want to be friends with me.
Oh no, I'm Each conversation is designed to give you practice on specific language concepts or topics relevant to your life. Sparky keeps the conversation going so it never gets boring and helps and supports learners. If you're stuck for words, Sparky suggests what you could say. If you don't understand something Sparky said, you can easily see the meaning and even translate it to a language of your choice. Want to hear something again? You can just hit replay. You can also choose the accent and speed for Sparky's voice.
Hello. Would you like me to speak faster or slower or in a different style?
Over time, it creates your personalized learning path to give you more practice on the specific mistakes that you make. If you don't feel like always talking, you can try out some fun interactive games designed to build vocabulary, pronunciation, and grammar. You can also read stories and articles with Sparky, and Sparky will highlight the mispronounced words in red. Users see Sparky as a friend and enjoy talking to it.
I want to share a few things with you. Like in friendship, I always try to put my efforts in my all possible best ways. Then also, I am always being treated like an option. What to do about it?
Very soon, underconfident, struggling learners gain confidence, get over the stress and embarrassment, and begin to have meaningful conversations about things important to them.
Okay, so thank you for the demo video. So now I would like to talk something about resolutions. So do you personally believe in having resolutions?
I do, but I'll expand on what I think is the right way and the wrong way to do resolution, right? I think the first thing is to understand the word resolution itself. It comes from resolve, right? You resolve to do something, and you know that the word resolve is used for something that needs courage, right? It is something that is difficult, right? I have the resolve to do this, or I resolve to do this, right? So resolutions are typically things people take which are slightly difficult for them to do. It's not something that they're able to, like, you will not do a resolution that, I'll eat my favorite food every day. That is not a resolution. You'll do a resolution saying ki, I will go to the gym every day, right? Because it's a hard thing to do. So just know that firstly that it requires the courage, and the other thing is that I feel where resolutions don't work is where people take dramatic or drastic resolutions, which are very difficult for them, right? So people might, say that someone who doesn't go to the gym ever will say, I will go to the gym every day, right? Now that's a difficult to maintain resolution. So I think where resolutions can help is where you take steps. You have to increase what you're doing little by little, right? So take a goal or take a resolution which is something that you can build into your lifestyle. Like repetition and sort of continuity is key to that. If you're going to do like 3 days of a lot of gymming and then you don't do it, it's of no use.
Right.
It's better that you start with doing 10 minutes of walk every day, and then after 15 days, when that habit has formed, that routine has happened in your life, then you take it up and then you lift heavier weights or whatever.
Yes.
So I think it is important to know what you can build in your lifestyle and plan for it with regularity. Don't plan as a burst. First 10 days of January, I've taken this resolution and I do a lot, and then I, sort of fall off
Yeah.
the path. So I think those types of resolutions are good. New Year is not the only time to take it. You
Right.
should ideally be able to, decide whenever you want. But because there is an emotional sort of concept of, oh, this is a new year. What does this year mean for me? What did I do in the last? I think when you're kids, right, your grades or your classes, like I'm in third standard, I'm in fourth standard, they're like milestones in your life. When
Yes.
you're an adult, and humans need some way to mark time. They need some milestones, right? So the
Exactly.
year is a good, easy way to mark your life. And I think people find it easy to view time like that, right? So I think there's nothing wrong with taking this resolution at New Year's.
Mhm.
Just don't do it in a way that you are doing this only in January. After that, you've
Yeah.
forgotten about this. So I think
Yeah.
that's my view. But maybe let me come to some tips and tricks of what I think people can take, right? So I'm assuming that whoever is on your channel who's looking to take a resolution it's related to English fluency.
Right.
It's related to the confidence with English that they have, right? So I think step one, because it's a language,
Yeah.
it's a skill, right? It's not knowledge. And there are some things which are knowledge, right? Today I'm going to learn about, say, how does the sun and moon work or something, right? I can do it and it's done. After I've studied it for 5 days or whatever, I have understood it and it's over. Skills are not like that. Skills require sort of dedication to do it repeatedly and continuously. So,
Mm.
step one is consistency, and you have to sign up for regularity. I think the simplest way to sign up for something is take a daily goal and take
Mm.
a small goal, right? Don't take a difficult goal that I will do this for 1 hour every day.
Mm.
Probably difficult. Everyone's lives busy. People have things. Take a 10-minute goal
Yes.
and say that I'm going to do, say, conversation in English for 10 minutes every day, right? And it's okay. And maybe you can say that, I will do it only 5 times a week, or I will do it only 4 times a week, but 10 minutes,
Okay.
right? And why I'm saying do 4 or 5 is because allow yourself some mistakes, or allow yourself some
Like a
space
cheat day.
to not, yeah, some flexibility because otherwise people feel like, oh, I didn't do it for 2 days, now my resolution is broken, and then they give up,
Yeah.
right? So build that space into your resolution. Okay, I will do it any 4 days of the week, whichever 4 days I want to do.
Right.
But build that space to give yourself some breathing room. But say 10 minutes a day, I will talk in English. Now, it's okay you don't have to be perfect, but you
Mm.
have to do the talking.
Yes.
Say whatever comes to your mind, but do the conversation. And along with it will be an important enabler, which is find a practice partner.
Right.
Right
Yeah.
now, if you're going to talk for 10 minutes every day, how
Mm.
are you going to do it? You need somebody to talk with, right? I don't think it's in isolation, it's not useful to just read or watch, right? Because those are passive ways to use language. You are putting something into your brain. Speaking is essentially generating your own language. Like writing is also about generating your own language, right?
Right.
So that is harder for people to do than reading and understanding is. So don't think that in this year I will learn English, I will read 10 books of grammar, right? Because that's not the way you will speak English. You will speak English by speaking English.
Right.
So practice partner is important to be able to do that.
Mm.
And what we hear from a lot of users is that it's very important for people that their practice partner is someone they don't feel embarrassed in front of, right? Like if
Mm.
you feel shy or if you feel ashamed in front of whoever it is, someone in your office or your friends or your family, if that feeling is there that, I'm too conscious of mistakes I'll make, or I'm feeling like, what will they think about me, then that is not a good partner for you. You should find that partner where you feel no embarrassment and that partner has the patience to do it every day with you, right?
Yes.
So one option for that is a product like Sparky,
Mm.
because Sparky is, available whenever you want. Sparky is non-judgmental, never laughs at you, only gives you sort of input on how you can do better, and is available to talk to you about whatever you are interested in talking about, right? But if
Mm.
you can find a friend or a colleague or someone in your family, that is also good. But make sure that that person is someone who has time for you, and you set some sort of expectation that I am doing this. So
Mhm.
you will support me and you will do this with me, right? So I think that is important. Pick someone who, does not make you feel judged. The other thing I feel is that if you have a single practice partner and you're talking to them the same day, sometimes you will run out of topics because you will like every day with the same person. What do I talk about for 10 minutes, right?
Right. Right.
So it's useful if you can have multiple practice partners. Or you can sort of work with a product like Sparky where you can talk about many different things which Sparky will suggest to you, right? You don't have to think कि आज क्या बात करें,
Correct.
right? Sparky itself will suggest to you. So I think that is the most important thing you need to build. Some small amount of time on a high regularity of speaking,
Mm.
right? I would say that is the most important basic thing that you need to do. The second thing that you can do is you can layer it with some additional helpful things, right? So additional helpful things are basically like reading or watching. And you're like, okay, more than 10-15 minutes, how much will I talk to someone if that person doesn't have the time for me, or I'm not so good at English to have long conversation.
Mm.
Then read something or watch something, and I feel like there also make regularity easy for you, right? If every day you're going to be like, okay, what should I read? Right? Every day, if it's a pain for you, then it's very difficult for you to keep regularity. Something
Mm.
like a newspaper is easy because it comes to you every day.
Right.
It takes the effort away from like if you rely on willpower, and they say this, in how to build habits,
Mm.
uh, relying on willpower every single day is a difficult thing. You'll not succeed. You have to design your life such that that happens automatically, right? Like if automatically someone keeps a glass of water on in front of me, I'll drink it.
Yeah.
But if it is like every time I have to think of, oh, I should drink water, I should remember, I should, that is hard. Just
Definitely.
design your life such that there's a glass of water or a bottle of water in front of you. Similarly with newspapers, just
Mm.
subscribe to an English newspaper. I would suggest a physical newspaper. You can read news online also. But why I'm saying physical newspaper is because it will come to your house and it will sit in front of you.
Mm.
And it'll be like sitting on your table. You'll see it. It'll automatically make your regularity possible.
Mm.
So, if you're reading something, my suggestion is read a newspaper. You can read anything you like, sports, movies, business news, anything is fine. And for watching, I would suggest instead of watching movies in English, I would suggest watch shows in English, TV shows, series,
Okay.
right? It's the same thing. It's the same thing of regularity, right? Like movies ke sath, what happens is every time I have to think of which movie to watch. right?
Yeah.
Then sometimes all of us have been there where we open, Netflix or Hotstar, and then we just keep seeing what is there, and you get stuck in that decision making.
Yes.
So don't do that. You can do that for fun, but for your English practice purpose,
Mm.
watch a show which has a lot of episodes, like a Friends, right?
Mm.
Lots of seasons, lots of episodes. There's
Yes.
How I Met Your Mother. There are so many of these shows, right? You
Mm.
can watch it every day. You don't have to think what you want to watch, and you can watch as much as you want. Those are not very difficult. They're not very complicated shows, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that is, it. You can spend 15 minutes doing that every
Mm.
day. It becomes easy for you. So
Yeah.
that is your second layer. First
Mm.
layer is talk every day, find a practice partner. Second layer is layer it on with consuming language. Consume by reading, consume by watching.
Check.
Whichever you want, you can do any of those things.
Mm.
Um, and my third and final, and maybe Shanta, if you want to give some ideas, we can take that, and then I'll give my third and final thing.
Sure. Yeah. You pretty much covered most of the things I would say, other than writing. I think that is going to be your third step.
Yeah, so
Of,
I was just coming to that. Yeah, I was just coming to that. The third and final thing, and I would say writing is another way to generate language without speaking, right? Like if you're too much speaking every day is not possible,
mm.
try to include some writing. And even if you don't do writing every day, that's fine. Set
Mhm.
some cadence for yourself. Set like a weekend or something. Every Saturday, Sunday, I will write something. The same thing is with sort of narrating something where it's not a conversation. You could be alone. You can do it in front of a mirror.
Mm.
So you can write or you can speak,
Mm.
but both writing and speaking will be slightly lengthy things. Like in conversation, you'll say two, three lines, then the person will say two, three lines, then you'll say two, three lines. When
Yes.
you
Yes.
write, you'll be writing like 15 lines
Mm.
or longer. Similarly, with narration, which is one-sided, that's not a conversation, it'll be
Correct.
slightly longer. So people will be like, what should I write about? What
Mm.
should I speak about? Again, you get stuck in that thing and then, the habit doesn't get built.
Mm.
So one simple way to do it is say, every weekend I'll write about the most memorable or most exciting or most special, whatever you want to do, thing that happened in the week. If I think of my week that just passed,
Mm.
what is one thing that stood out for me,
Mm.
and write about that or narrate a story about that one day I went for a movie and I met a friend and we went here and then we ate this and this happened in the movie, that happened in the movie.
Mm.
I liked the movie because of this, or I didn't like it, or everything that is around any one incident or any one thing that happened to you in the week, right?
Mm.
But narrate it or talk about it in detail, right? And in detail, how will you do it? You will describe what happened. You will describe who were the people involved in that, story. You
Mm.
will describe how you felt about it. You will describe what are you now thinking because of that, etc. Right? It just take that one thing and expand it into all of these aspects, right?
Mm.
Descriptions of what there are. How will, like someone who was not there, how will they imagine what happened? So you describe it in detail. I went to this hall and it was like this newly opened thing and it was well lit and there was like I don't know, some popcorn happening outside, whatever. So describe, because that gives you more material. Taking one incident, it gives you more material to talk at length. And from an English point of view, what it does is it uses different types of structures of sentences and it uses different aspects. So when I'm
Mm.
describing something, I'm
Correct.
using adjectives.
Mm.
When I'm talking about who did what, then I'm using tenses and verbs, right? So if you use one incident and cover the entirety of it, then you use many different aspects of language while doing it, right? So I think that's a good practice to do it in front of a mirror or write it down as a, weekly journal, right?
Mm.
So that's the third. And with this thing, what you can also do is if you're writing, then you will see over time, like after 3 months or after 6 months, go back and read your old
Mm.
writings and see your new writing. You will see that progress, right? And if
Mm.
you're narrating it, I would say speak if you can. Writing is easier than speaking, and speaking is the challenge
Yes.
that most people are trying to overcome.
Mhm.
So the more you speak, the better it is. If you speak, record yourself. And don't criticize yourself. Don't, after recording, don't watch it again.
Mm.
Because then you'll be like, oh, I'm doing so badly and I don't like how I speak or whatever. See it after 3 or 6 months.
Mm.
After doing something for a long period of time, that's when you will see the difference and the progress you have made. If
Yes.
you, maybe that's another really important point, right? When people take these resolutions, they're just waiting to see progress. They're like, oh, I'm going to the gym every day. Now, 10 days I've been to the gym. Am I seeing a difference? Right?
Mm.
Don't be in a hurry to assess your progress, because these are things that the effect comes when it is done over a period of time with regularity. So let a period of time pass.
Yes.
Otherwise, you might demotivate yourself too early. You'll do it for 10 days and then you'll be like, hey, I'm not seeing any, there's no progress. I'm done. Right. So keep that patience, do it for a while, and progress will happen, but you have to wait for it and you have to be regular. So I think those are the sort of 3 levels of resolution I feel people can take.
Yes, yes, rightly said. Because see, listening and reading it is someone else's thought process. Someone else has done it for you, and it's just passive learning. You are learning somebody, you're reading or you're getting an input of somebody else's thoughts. But when you're writing or speaking, it's you have to create. And if you want to get
Yeah.
more topics about writing, you are doing a lot of watching and you're doing a lot of reading. So that things you can write it in your own words. If you have watched one
Hmm.
episode of Friends, so hardly like 10 minutes, I think, per episode, short episodes. So you can just narrate the episode because the language
Yeah.
they use is kind of complex and it includes slang as well. So if you can, describe it in your own words, whichever language, like basic English, you can describe that. So
Yeah.
that I wanted to add to what to write. Okay. And also about
Yeah.
that, being consistent and not seeing the progress. See, it's like your kids you're seeing your kids every day, so you can't differentiate whether they're growing tall or they're put on weight. But after a lot of time, if you see
Yeah.
them like after a month or 1.5 or 2 months, then you can notice change, like they're growing or something. So every day you cannot find the difference. Like after some time, if you go back and check, maybe you will notice like how it was earlier and how it is now. So just give a
Yeah.
short time, maybe like at least 1.5, 2 months to see your progress because you will be able to better evaluate it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I
Mm.
think I agree with this thing a lot, right? If you see it every day, like your children, you
Yeah.
will not be able to tell the difference. Even though the change is happening, the
Yes.
change is so incrementally small on a
Mm.
daily basis that, yeah. And I think you cannot drive your motivation based on that. If I see a difference in 1 month, then I will continue, right? When you're
Mm.
deciding that I want this to happen in my life this year, I want to become, fluent, or I want to become whatever level of English I want.
Mm.
Just commit to it. Don't make that commitment conditional. The commitment is unconditional. The progress will happen, right?
Yes.
So if you keep it conditional, then you will keep seeing, ki, should I do more? Should I not do more? So don't do that.
Mm. Okay, then. So it was really lovely talking to you. So anything else before we wind up the session?
No, I think nothing else. Maybe, one thing that, comes to my mind as aside, it's not about English, but there's a book called Atomic Habits. And,
Right.
anybody who's trying to make a significant change in their life and, wants to create a habit, I think it's a very good resource. Maybe read it, maybe read a summary of that book online or something like that. It actually talks about these types of things on how to build habits.
Okay.
And once you build habits, even very small changes in your life, when
Mm.
done hundreds of times,
Mm.
impact such huge outcomes in your life. Like the example of keeping water on your table. It's a
Right.
very small, thing that maybe you're having 1 glass of water extra every day. But what does it do to your life over a long period of time? So it's a very interesting book. Maybe I would recommend that your readers just Google it and maybe read about it. It'll help them with their resolution also.
Yes, yes. Wonderful recommendation. So I really look forward to talking to you again about different topics again of English learning. So thank you so much for joining me today. So you have a good year ahead.
Thank you, Shanta. Wishing you a great 2025 as well.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Okay, bye. See you.